As soon as I hear the echo coming through, I'll know it's actually started. As soon as I hear the echo. There we go. Hi, everybody. This is Irongeek cast number 11, Russia, Russia, Russia. We'll be doing some discussion here shortly. I have with me tonight the ever-present Jack and a newcomer, Janie, happens to be on the line as well. Say hello, folks.
I don't know why I'm here. This is my first time joining, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, you're more than welcome. Okay, first a bit of news. Of course, I usually run down what conferences I have upcoming that I'm going to be going to record. So let me pull up my list, and I'll run through those real quick. This weekend, well, actually, technically, tomorrow and the day after that, I'm going to be at CypherCon. That's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I have it March 31st and April 1st, but that is incorrect. It's actually 30th and 31st. But I'll be up there tomorrow. AID, April 3rd through the 7th. Oh, I'm going to have to check in on that. I may not be able to actually. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be to that till much later in the weekend. But 3rd through 7th when it's running through. B-Sides Nashville is April the 22nd. B-Sides Charm is April 29th through April 30th. Converge / B-Sides Detroit is May 11th through the 13th. And NolaCon is the 19th for the 21st of May. And ShowMeCon is June 8th and 9th, 2017. Circle City Con, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Now, I can't technically be at both of those at the same time, so I have a buddy, Brandon, who's going to be running my stuff up from my house to Circle City Con. Record the first day at Circle City Con while I'm at ShowMeCon. Then I'll join them for the rest of the weekend. And that's what I have going on. And someone else just joined. James just joined. And Brian. And we lost Janie. Oh, well, we'll miss you.
Hey, Adrian.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about with you?
All right. Can you see the chat and the links I posted?
I don't see any links.
Shit. All right. Let me repost it. Also, it's in the description for the YouTube stream.
You see I see him now. Yeah, I see him now.
Looks like I have to repaste them anytime someone actually joins. Okay. The thing I want to discuss tonight is the whole connection between Alfa Bank, Trump, and various other agencies, because apparently it's come back up in the news again. And every time it dies, someone brings it back up again. Like someone brought it up again earlier this month after Errata Rob had already posted a couple of links largely debunking the situation. I'm not sure exactly what brought it up again this month. I think it's some kind of announcement about the FBI. And then it got brought up again because a professor got a letter, which was basically a retention of evidence letter to make sure nothing was deleted. And it had some vague threatening language in it regarding Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Have any of you all aware of any of these? The connection between Alfa Bank and Trump and this retention of evidence letter? Anybody?
I have a little bit, but not enough to speak on it expertly.
Okay, the basic rundown is sometime before the election, there was a DNS server with Alfa Bank, and I may be screwing this up ever so slightly, but bear with me, doing a bunch of DNS queries for a server of Trump in the name involving email. And they were using this as something along the lines of, well, no one else is making that many requests to this particular server's IP address. So there must be some kind of connection here. Turns out, when you look at Errata Rob's write-up on it, as well as Cryptia's and a few others, what ends up happening, what it actually seems to be going on is there is a server at Alfa Bank making all these requests. But the requests aren't actually for anything owned by Trump. It's actually owned by a different company, which I'm going to pull up here in a second, the name of it. I got way too many windows open right now. Yeah, it's owned. The domain itself is owned by something called Sindine, and they don't actually run the server that it's talking to. The server it's talking to is actually owned by a third company, and that one is now I'm trying to find it. You know what we need to do? We need to actually start like a Twitter chat where I can actually post out these links for people who are likely to join. But anyway, the one it's actually talking to is a box that's not even owned by Sindine. It's owned by another company that's used for processing mail. Well, since it has Trump in the name, and around a certain time, I believe there was a little pre-fall, it did a whole lot of requests. And they're using this as a connection to say, well, there's some kind of secret server. Now, apparently it's not particularly secret because it was really noisy. It made a shitload of requests. So also, if you're trying to do secret communications with Russia, first of all, it's not the Russian government. It's a Russian bank and a third or fourth party company away from Trump, where they used to use this particular server for some kind of, apparently Sindine does work with marketing. So at one time it was doing marketing for Trump. Now, Alpha's early excuse was something along the lines of, it must be because of a bunch of spam we're getting from the Trump organization through this extra service, because some of our people stay at Trump hotels. That was been kind of thrown out because at that time, apparently, the Trump organization, the actual Trump organization, hasn't done any actual campaigning through that server in quite a while. However, that said, that particular IP address, while it still resolves back to having Trump in the name, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was being used for sending Trump emails. This same company could be using it to send other types of spam promotions. And spam, well, it might be an opt-in thing. So spam might be an uncharitable way of putting it. But regardless, a lot of these requests came through. I believe the logs themselves may have came from a company, that Sindine company I mentioned before. Errata Rob had some questions about the ethics of releasing these logs and who released the logs and where they got them from. Apparently, the person who leaked these DNS logs is the handle they go by is tea leaves. And Rob said something about it looks like possible modification of some of the logs. And that's kind of where we stand. Hope Stir was made up about the entire thing. Errata Rob and Cryptia have both written up things largely debunking it. Camp has also written up some stuff, although Rob has kind of thrown her out as being an expert on it. For one thing, she talked about it looked weird that two different domain names were concatenated together. Basically, Alfa Bank's domain name and this particular marketing server's domain name that it was using. But she didn't seem to understand, as Rob points out, that when you're doing DNS queries, it's fairly common for a lot of clients to first try the first part of the domain name and then later on try the entire thing. For instance, or let me actually pull up Rob's second article. I'm gonna have to close that particular chat because there's too much stuff going on. All right, let me share my screen real quick. All right, hopefully you can see this now as I continue to speak. She thought that it was kind of weird that there was a request for, let's say, mail1.trump-email.com.moscow.alphaintra.net. But as Rob points out, that's fairly common for if you can't get to mail1.trump-email.com for it to automatically tack on your local domain to see if it can then resolve the particular connection. So he uses that to say that Gene Camp is probably not an expert on this particular issue. I remember having a conversation in class once where we were talking about, she was talking about war driving and testing for what things are webbed and WPA'd, and she said something about they could have tested for default passwords, and I was like, no, I don't think that's, even though it's a default password, that would still be unauthorized access. And she said, I'm not going to argue with you about this. She thought she couldn't do it because of some kind of human testing issue. It was kind of bizarre. So she's not, I can believe she's probably not an expert on DNS. He goes through and debunks a whole lot of this stuff, and it gets kind of in depth. So I don't know if I'm explaining it all right. And if anybody else reading this, no one else can help me actually go through all this. But does anybody have any thoughts on what I've said so far? Any corrections for what you've read on this?
Oh, not yet.
John? Okay. Anyway, Errata Rob and Cryptia both seem to do pretty thorough debunkings on this particular issue. However, she gets a letter eventually from Alfa Bank, because apparently she's still pressing it. And it basically is a letter to notice to preserve evidence. Let me go ahead and share my screen out again. And hopefully all these links are in the show notes on the video when it's finally processed. Apparently, they want to preserve evidence. Reading through the entire letter, I get the impression the person they actually want to know about is this tea leaves person, because they want to know who actually laid the data. From some of the articles I read, it sounds like the leak came from Syndyne someplace. So either someone worked at Syndyne got it out there, or someone hacked Syndyne got it out there, or possibly someone who's a researcher on malware. Errata Rob put forth an idea along these lines that someone who's a researcher in malware may have released the logs because they had it for other purposes. There is a vaguely threatening thing in here about Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. But while it's vaguely threatening towards her, it tells her if she has any legal counsel to get them in contact with them. She hasn't actually been sued as of yet. I had someone say, wait, is someone suing her? No one is actually suing her as of yet. So they've started a fundraiser for her, and it's not directly for her, granted. It's Marsha Hoffman is going to be doing pro bono work, and the money is going to go to help pay Hoffman, and whatever's left over, actually there's one other lawyer besides Hoffman, I believe, and whatever's left over is going to go to the EFF. Now, so far it looks like they've raised, well, close to the goal of $3,388. And as she pointed out to me in a kind of snide way, the money doesn't go directly to her, because I say, I've looked it up how much Gene made, and I'm cheap, so I'm not going to give any money to this from my bank account. She said, none of the funds go to me. All things are better when you do the reading. To which my response, because I had as a professor, kind of like when papers are assigned as readings by an instructor, the instructor should read them first. I read it, still don't see a need to fund it. She gets paid approximately $174,000 a year, according to the Indy Star. If she's not being sued as of yet, if she does, she can pay for it out of her own pocket, or they can then do a fundraiser. I understand she's not getting the money directly, but to me, this is just a big signal boost for her. And I've had her as a professor. Look up her reviews on.
Did that beat in Logic's new song?
Let's see. Let's look up her ratings on Rate My Professor. Yep. She does miss a lot of time, and she also assigns work that she doesn't obviously have. One time she assigned something on securities. I think she just saw securities in the title. It was about financial securities or investment securities, which while I can tie that into InfoSec, it was tedious at best. There was another thing she assigned that I actually had to ask the author for a copy of the paper because she didn't seem to have it. There was another time she went through a reading of mine, and I said something, it'd be interesting if they actually sent this poll to real alumni. And she said they did send it to real alumni. Even if she didn't read the paper, she didn't have a good comprehension of it. No, they didn't. They did it to mock alumni, the actual people who weren't really alumni. Also, getting advisement from her, she would drag her feet and say, well, we'll get to that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Then when it's last minute, I finally get all the information. I send it to the secretary, and she bitches me out because she doesn't like how unconcise my email was. Yo, listen, to get authorized by the secretary of the department, I have to show that I was advised. That means sending all these other emails. And I did say what class I was willing to register for. She's just, well, how do you put it this way? She's incompetent. And I know she let me into a program after I got screwed over by the MBA program at IUS, which is a whole different story. But at the same time, at that time, I knew, okay, nutty professor, keep my mouth shut till I get a degree. I have my degree. I'm telling you, this is not a professor that she's overpaid and she gets too much respect as it is. Now, granted, I don't think that the Alfa Bank should be coming after her with a threatening letter of the sort. I would have phrased it better, and I do think they probably should ask her to retain records. But I don't like necessarily the scare tactics, and I also think Alfa Bank screwed up because basically they've allowed these conspiracy theorists to help push this thing further and further. Like, oh, they must have something to hide. This is the case of the Streisand effect. Alfa Bank would have been better off not saying a damn thing. Ignore a podunk professor at IU and just let the thing slide off, because it's already been debunked by people like Cryptia and Errata Rob multiple times, as long with other people. So basically, Alfa Bank screwed up on that case and just stood the shit back up again. Anybody have any comments? Okay, that's just me ranting. Anybody? Beulah?
I feel you covered it thoroughly.
Okay. Someone else said they haven't read Rob's article. Anyway, I posted all the articles on there. Tell me what you think. If I get enough emails or Twitter comments on this, I may do a different cast after people get a chance to read some of the materials. But I'm kind of curious on this because it seems like a mountain made out of molehill, because it wasn't directly a Russian government server. It wasn't directly a Trump server. We don't actually have any communications other than a shitload of DNS requests. And the DNS requests were coming from some site that could potentially be sending marketing material for other companies besides Trump. They just didn't change the DNS records. So there you go. I know Mandy did some research into it that I need to look into again. And I know there's also been put forth the idea from Alfa Bank that some of the DNS traffic was spoofed, because DNS being largely UDP, you can do zone transfers over TCP and such, but largely UDP, you could spoof that, and in theory, you could send a whole bunch of requests from anybody to anybody and create DNS records, or do records in a DNS log. Anything controversial about what I just said?
Nope. Yeah, that's 100% true.
Nope.
But that's the rundown of the story as far as I can do it, unless I sat down here and actually read through some of these points by points. This particular post, I like Errata Rob's, but this one might be more concise because it goes question by question, which is pretty good. I also post a link to some of Camp's blog posts on this. Let me see. Okay. I also post a link to some of oh, someone's got a loopback going on here. On this. Let me see. Who doesn't have a microphone? All right, we have some other people just joined, but I don't know if they've listened to it. For the people who just joined, do you have any comment on the whole Alfa Bank Trump Elgene Camp thing? Oh, add on to this, Camp is a donor to the Clinton's election. Not a huge donor by any means, but a donor. And if you ever go over Facebook, she's a huge Clinton fangirl. All right. And I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but I have to imagine, even though she may claim it's not ideological, there's at least some kind of an ideological thing to this. Okay, let's go over some of the questions from this deepresearch.org site. Did Trump or his associates communicate with the Russian bank via his server? Answer: the messages were sent from one DNS server, Alfa Bank, to another DNS server, Sindan, asking for the IP address of mail1.trump-email.com. The leaked logs that contain these do not give enough data to substantiate such a claim. Next question. Does this proof insert anything related to Trump's claims about wiretapping Russian computer hacking, and Russian ties, etc. Answer: despite various wild theories, the events described in the original posts and logs have no relation to Trump's claims that his wires were tapped. Was that?
Well, him and his team have been trying to steadily walk that back through their proxies.
Yeah, he came out and said that. I want to know exactly why he said that, because that seems like a weird thing to tweet. I think he misunderstood a wiretap versus some other type of investigation.
Well, I mean, he has access to things that we won't ever know.
But he could also release that and actually do more to prove it, right?
No, unless it's through FISA court, he can't. There's certain things that don't allow him to do it unless it gets approved.
So even if it was an investigation into him, he can't approve release of it.
If it's an, I believe so, Mike. Sorry, Jack should know, right, Jack? Am I wrong or right?
Well, I mean, it's many different layers. It's not so much as when it comes to declassifying information before it even reaches, say Trump's desk, which it won't. It has to go through a lot of people.
Yeah, that's my understanding. That even though he's the president, if it's done under FISA court, there's other directives that have to approve, even if it's still an ongoing investigation or whatever it's going on. He can't just say, "I'm gonna just share this out there," right?
Right. He can't just fully disclose it. I mean, my theory about the whole thing is maybe it was gotcha games with Flynn.
Yeah. Oh, and another Spectrum Health, which is tied to the boss, was another particular DNS server that was making a lot of requests for mail1.trump.email.com. That's the part that I didn't mention earlier. And that's tied to the boss, the what was it, Secretary of Education?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tied to her family or her, you know. But it's just an awful lot of coincidences and just not looking good.
But this is the thing, you know. It's just they're gonna hang whoever started the investigation, and I think that's what they're trying to like to get somebody to talk. That's my theory on that. By doing all this public stuff and getting it all out there and doing executive orders and all that stuff to unwind whatever happened that we don't know about.
Yeah, I need to go back. I only recently found this deepresearch.org link I posted. It seems to actually cover everything together from what L. Jean posted, as well as what Errata Rob has posted, and I think also someplace in here is probably some Cryptia stuff.
It's just not a good look overall.
It's not a great look, but also it seems to be grasping at straws, man.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe everybody's trying to play gotcha games and they're trying to figure out how to hang Trump. I mean, I'm no fan of the president, even though my pockets have gotten fatter since he's got elected. But it is what it is. It's all coincidence.
Okay.
Well, and not only that, you have to understand that this is a first year, and the powers that are there from the last 4 years are still trying to, either get a foothold of positions that they are in, either step out but still control from the outside and put people they can, ask favors for and stuff like that.
Well, that's what the donors do. I mean, eventually the donors are going to get fed up and they're going to start using their monies to build war chests.
Reading through the chat that's on YouTube. Hopefully I got all these links in. Yeah, the deep research one seems to be the one that ties them all together really, really well. So I'll have to go over that again. I've been thinking about this, and you might want to do this. Anybody wants that's regularly on the stream, like Akashic Flow and Jack, you guys, message me. I'd like to create a little Twitter group so I can actually like send out these links to you all specifically pre-show.
That'll be awesome.
No, I don't have Twitter.
What's that?
I don't have a Twitter account. I just refresh yours to get the link, but I don't have one that I use.
Okay, I don't know how to get it to you then.
Oh no, hey, have you guys seen what's it called, that thing? It's Keybase.io.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Keybase, yeah. I mean, that's a good way to do it, Brian. And you get a GPG key and all that stuff. I'm setting my stuff up.
Yeah, and it's just a link. You could email it to me too. I mean, yeah, it's just having to install more stuff. I've been out in the sun all day on little food, and I'm kind of beat. But
you can also do it be like a Google Doc.
All right, who keeps on muting me? Come on, man, stop.
it wasn't me this time.
Was it Mike?
Nope.
Nope.
I just want to bring up my rant on this. If anybody else has nobody else has any more information on this, we'll move on to the next thing.
No, I really don't have any information on it. I was hoping Jack had more insights on this since he is literally employed by the man.
I'm sorry, but I am on
Without compromising your job, of course. We respect that.
Let's stop asking questions.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how long. I think I've been up for 30 hours.
Wow. Are you like doing some IR? Wait, you can't tell us. Wait, let me shut the fuck up. Sorry for my French.
No. It was just a bunch of series of unfortunate events. I worked all night last night, and then every time I tried to go to sleep, somebody would knock at my door, and then I had a meeting at 4, and so I just said, "Fuck it, I'm staying up."
You cocaine cowboyed it all the way. Just joking.
All right. Well, I think we may be done with that subject. What else does people have to talk about?
There's that new leak with the CIA, with the iPhone devices.
Was it a continuation of Vault 7?
Yeah. Has anybody read on it by any chance?
No, I've been busy reading on this other older news that it just keeps getting recirculated.
Yeah, it was the embedded group department, and they released that part. Apparently, they're claiming there's no 0 days or whatever and stuff like that. But I am reversing it and trying to prove, or trying to get paid somehow. See if I find something. Does anybody here do like reverse engineering by any chance, or malware analysis? This group?
Not I.
Haven't done it in years.
That's right. Jack's now a boss. He doesn't do it.
I'm not a boss. I'm a fucking grunt.
I don't know. I was just wondering, because I'm just wondering to see if there's anything in there that you can like. I don't know if you guys heard of Zerodium. They have like this. They give for like an iPhone vulnerability, $1.5 million. For Android, I believe it's 100,000, and for Windows OS or Windows Mobile is another 100,000. Just you never know, right?
Well, John Doe says that you should check the Human Zoo group.
The human what? The Zoo group?
Yeah, Human Zoo Group. Okay, that's a loose affiliation with a bunch of hacker infosec and criminology types. It kind of started when there was a joke running between me and one of the other members that had a robot name, and there was recently this bot that had an AI in it that said something about putting humans in a zoo, and I said something about, "I don't trust you. I've heard your type wants to put us in a human zoo," and it became a running gag. And then they started their own group, and I only attend stuff occasionally as far as the chats, but yeah, it's just a running meme between a bunch of people on Twitter. And our mascot is the Scroat Hog. Let me show you Scrothog. You'll like Scrothog.
All right.
Come on, do your thing. All right, yes. Here's Scrothog.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
And I guess this would be the closest thing to an official Twitter page of Human Zoo. But yeah, we got a few malware people in Human Zoo.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. It's just insanely sometimes boring and frustrating, but once you get like on your groove, it's very exhilarating. I like the feeling. I'm like, ooh, 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 I popped it, but I didn't. I don't know. It's kind of sad. There's not a lot of reversers out there. It's like the more years go by, the less there are people that actually do. Like back in the day, reverse engineering was like you had to know reverse engineering to work security, and now it's like an option that nobody wants to take, which is good. I mean, for work and stuff like that, but it's kind of bad for the industry.
What actually, for InfoSec people, what are the majority of jobs? I would assume a large percentage of blue team, red team, and then actual people doing malware research and reversing, I would imagine, would be a minority.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, for the government side, it's all blue team.
Well, not necessarily. Well, yeah, mostly. But I've seen a lot of red team stuff, and I've consulted for people who, like, say, are doing IR stuff. And I mean, the good thing about being a malware analyst and reverse engineer nowadays is that if you're a contractor like myself, and you've established, I guess, a network. I mean, there's never a shortage of work. It's just a shortage of time and capabilities. And being able to be, responsive, especially with some of these government contracts, sometimes they want you to have something within a week, and you kind of shoot yourself on the foot, or you get it, or you lose the contract, type of thing. And, or mostly you're like, you get the contract, and then you have to, part of the contract stipulation says you have to train their employees on how you found it, type of thing. But it depends, I guess, on the individual. Can you guys hear me? Like,
Yeah, I can
somebody
hear you.
muted me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just thought somebody muted me again.
I was typing a message to somebody, and the damn keyboard on it's late 2016 MacBooks, they suck as far as somehow I'm accidentally hitting escape, but my fingers don't seem to be anywhere near the touch bar, so I don't know how I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to like malware, it's very interesting because it's like, I mean, I collect malware because I don't know, I just find it intriguing of how, individuals are always able to bypass things. It's like I don't know, James gave me this piece of malware that literally, deletes all the logs and does all the things. And, like right now, my only resource to actually find what it's actually doing was going to be through the object.data file and the Windows system, of course, and the shim cache. You guys know what the shim cache is, right?
No. Keep talking,
Is
guys.
what-
I can go get me a drink. In this case,
Jack knows. Jack is off. Jack, you know, right? What I'm talking about. Yo, Jack. Brian knows. How about you, Brian?
You're not talking about like prefetch.
Yeah, like the prefetch stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the shim cache, will store a lot of useful information. Then the object.data file, it's like there's this interesting part of this malware where it actually
Do you like fucking dogs?
I don't know who you
That
are,
was a bit random.
but it's okay if you like to. Apparently, you like to fuck dogs. Are you looking for a partner? Because I'm sorry,
It's a line
we
from
can't
a
help
Guy
you.
Ritchie film, I believe.
Pop
Did you just want to
station.
put a bit of peanut butter on there and just go for the old vacuum cleaner treatment? Or...
Are you? He's fucking trolling. Fucking block him the fuck out. Here you go.
Traveling.
All right, I ignored him, so he can just go play with his dog.
Welcome back, Jenny. Am I
Thanks.
pronouncing that all correct?
What's the topic now?
All
well,
the
I would
things.
say, but it sounds very rude. Someone was quoting some Guy Ritchie films, and the line was, "You like fucking dogs." He didn't mean literally fucking dogs. He meant you like dogs. But since he was a gypsy, he put the word "fuck" in everything. The character. I'm trying to remember what movie it was. I want to say the movie was called Snatch, but I'm not sure. I think that was
Snatch.
who he was quoting. Unfortunately, we moved away from technical topics for a little bit there, but we're trying to get back.
Okay, so
We're
how
talking
about you, Jenny? What do you do?
reverse engineers in the crowd, and apparently we only have like a Caustic Flow does much reverse engineering in this particular chat right now, unless you happen to. I take it that's a no.
I didn't get the question. I didn't get any of that. I just heard the last like few words.
Oh, one of the last actual technical topics was what percentage of InfoSec does what, and we were talking about people who do actual direct reversing and like malware research is a relative minority.
Yeah, that's definitely a minority. Even at my company, that I know there's probably more cryptographers than reverse engineers.
You work for the NSA?
No, I would never work for the NSA. What kind of question is that?
Well, you say there's a
Let's
lot
ask
more
people
tricks.
about work a lot. I think he's a Fed.
Who's a
Yeah,
Fed?
Spot the Fed. It's a Caustic Flow.
Me? I'm a Fed? No, not a Fed. Jack's the Fed. I'm just
I am,
gray hat. I work for anybody who pays me.
and I'm pretty much the same way. And it just so happens that the government is paying me right now. So,
Oh, okay.
But this is the thing. This is the thing in the world we live in today. How many of you guys have ever?
I have a proposition for anyone who's watching. If you have real InfoSec skills, reach out to me. If you hate your job, and especially if you work in the government, I will help you get a job at my company doing really fun, really meaningful work that you will feel good about with good people. Just reach out to me. Send me your, I don't know, like your GitHub or your Twitter. I don't even know. Just I will help you get out of the government.
why?
Why?
I
Wait,
mean,
wait.
you know,
What question is that?
Well, actually, before we continue
well,
that,
as a matter of fact, I might have somebody for you. It ain't me.
You can send them over. I am happy to help people because I think it's good for them and it's good for me. I get a bonus if I refer someone who has like real skills.
so people actually know how to get a hold of you. I'm gonna go ahead and say your Twitter handle. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Go ahead and send over my Twitter.
So what's the name of the company?
Jenny Gack. JANEYGAK.
You guys can read about the company I work for, NCC Group. Also, it was known as ISEC Partners. We do really good. Like the greatest thing about it is you're on a project for 2 weeks, like 2 weeks at a time. You work on different types of projects. You can. It's a very like the company encourages education, so you can you have a huge training budget. I'm still, in my first year there. So I've been using my training budget to go to trainings, to go to DEF CON, to go and learn, go to these meetings. And the company encourages that. It's a very good place to work, especially for people who are just getting into InfoSec. It's a very nurturing environment. And it's not SJW either. So it's a great place to work.
Okay, wait. So I'm at the website. It's isec.com.
No, nccgroup.trust.
Okay. Let's check this
The
out.
old name was ISEC Partners, but now it's under nccgroup.trust. And we have, I don't know why I'm like marketing my company so much, but that's how good of a company it is. We have so many offices. We even have an office in Europe, in England. We have offices in Seattle, Austin, New York, Sunnyvale, San Francisco, of course. And
So you're telling me this is a CIA shell company?
no, we're a private company. We do penetration testing for the latest and greatest, new software companies. It's a really fun job to be at, and it's a really exciting time right now.
But do you offer remote? Because this guy's definitely not trying to relocate.
Yeah,
Okay, if you're good enough, they will hire remote if you're good enough. It's not going to work out for like junior people, but if you have a name in the community, in the InfoSec community, they are very willing to work with people being remote. We have a lot of people who are remote.
How about if you were charged of a federal crime, like the Computer Act type situation? Do you still get a job? Because I know a guy.
Actually, you do. That's one of the greatest things about my company. They don't care about that stuff because there are people who work at my company who do have questionable backgrounds, but that's the greatest part about my company. That they don't care about that stuff. They look past that. I mean it when I say I will help you. So reach out to me. Whoever this person is, have them reach out to me.
All right, post an email. I'm gonna send them right now towards you. How you want them to contact you?
Email is fine as well. They can DM me on Twitter. I don't know if I have that option set up, but can you DM me? Do I follow you?
I don't know. Do you?
Okay. Yeah. Just message me in Google Hangouts, and I'll give you my work email.
Sure.
I mean, there's so many talented people whose talents are like wasted, I think, and they can be getting paid and growing and doing really cool stuff if they work in like a private company, like the company I work at.
So did HR send you over here to find people?
Oh my God, no. No, this is legit for my heart. I know, like, I'm being really fangirl right now, but this is legit for my heart. I'm speaking as someone who really wanted to be in this space, and I worked really hard to get into it. This is not, like, InfoSec is not my, like, background. I have a very strange background, but I really wanted to learn this stuff. I worked in Afghanistan. I worked for an NGO in Afghanistan. I had a company in Afghanistan. Like, my background is so weird. I studied international development. But I guess this is like something I usually tell people of how I got into InfoSec. I used to interview like these women in Afghanistan, and like in a country where people went from like not having any technology and then suddenly everyone has like Facebook. It was really interesting seeing the way that they interacted with Facebook and the stories I heard from people about how, like, I'll give you an example. There was this girl who, I guess she had her Facebook account hacked. Not really hacked. I'm sure like her password was like password or something, right? And so whoever this person was, they published her conversations with guys. They made like a new Facebook account using like her really private photos. I can't even like begin to explain like how, excuse my language, like how fucked up her life became after that because of just this one, this compromise of her Facebook account. Like she couldn't, like her family never took her seriously anymore. Like this is a culture where people actually kill like women in the society if they, if these things are found out. But she wasn't able to, like, I don't want to get like too much into it, but her life was ruined basically. She would never be able to like find like a decent husband or something. People wouldn't be able to like hire her. She was like trying to like build a career for herself, and it was just like really sad seeing like how like she was suicidal, and for what? Just for like talking to some guys and maybe like having a boyfriend and, you know, posting like a photo of her with like, you know, sleeveless dress or whatever. It's just ridiculous. And I kept hearing like these stories everywhere, not just that one, but about like jealous boyfriends publishing, you know, chat conversations to like the family as like a way.
Porn shaming?
It was basically like slut shaming, right?
Whatever.
But this had like real, like,
Except for the slut shaming in Afghanistan is a much lower bar. Someone's competing. Someone's got
like
to
this
turn on.
country where people get acid thrown on their faces because they refuse to like marry some douchebag, right? So I started to get like more and more into this, and I've always been like kind of into computers. I know like how lame that sounds. I really like, I took A+ as like a high school class. I really like computers. So this for me was like, you know what? Maybe I should like get more into this field. So I started to learn coding, and I went to like a hackathon after like a year, and I realized I really liked the InfoSec part because that was a part I felt like really passionate about. And I guess it's like a year later, I'm working at this company. I worked really hard. So I think other people can do it too. If they really want something, they can work for it. And I'm willing to help people get to that level. Sometimes you just need like a reference, right? And I can be that reference for them if they really want to change their careers or, you know, they want to change from the government sector to the private sector.
Now, your family, they were originally from Afghanistan, right?
Yes, they are.
So do you know Farsi or Darsi, whatever they speak over there?
Darcy. Yeah, I didn't really speak it growing up, but I learned in Afghanistan like very well. I speak it on a professional level. I can read and write it. I am working on a really cool app with my friend, an etymology app, which is going to be like mostly Persian words. So yeah, my family's background is we're like the Dari speaking ethnic group.
Out of curiosity, how much do they use as far as privacy apps over there? You were talking about the and someone has someone's gotten loot back. Privacy apps, let's say things like Tor and ITP. How common are those used in those kind of countries?
They're not commonly used. Like the internet's too freaking slow. Like I tried to use it, and it was just so. The internet is already slow. Like it's already slow as molasses. So people just for convenience sake, they don't really use it. The most common like apps for messaging is Viber and WhatsApp. And there's another app called Tango that people use to like find casual sex.
Okay. But I'm assuming that they try to keep that on the down low, really down low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not only that, they'll monitor
yeah,
the internet and find the ports that are being used and find those people.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of like, so a lot of money and technology went to their defense. Like the Afghan defense, they have a lot of capabilities. And I've had friends who worked in that unit, and they've told me like they don't like, of course it's like the NSA, right? Like they're not going to spend time looking for terrorists. They're going to, you know, eavesdrop on that girl that they, I don't know. So they have like, this is what all this like technology that was paid courtesy of taxpayer money is being used by like these, you know, Afghan guys in the military to like stalk or like, you know, eavesdrop on these girls. What do you guys think of that?
It seems like kind of
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think people in the States doing much the same thing, unfortunately.
Human nature is like the same. And that's probably one of like the greatest things about working in a culture that's like so different. You see like what exactly is cultural and like what exactly is human nature. And you can differentiate it so much better and see like what is human nature. And that's one of that I never regret like working there. So even though it doesn't help me in my current field, I'll never. Oh, nice. Yeah, curiosity. Like humans are curious. They want to know what people are doing, right? And yeah, I would say like I wouldn't, but I don't know. Maybe some people like, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking right now and put myself on mute.
Under the right circumstances, you might, but I know there are people who develop whole dossiers on other people online. Like I know I know a girl who recently got divorced, but the woman her ex-husband cheated on her with was then started cyber stalking her online.
Yeah, that fucking sucks. I think it's sad because it's sad on both ends. Not even the person who is actually doing it, but the person who gets the retaliation from that, because these are people that just don't know what they're doing. The laws are all over the place, and one emoji can land you 10 years in prison with a felony. Minimum. That's the way I see it. Plus, it's sad, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
I hate
and then
it when I
there's
see
some
it.
people who I think like a few months ago there was some Muslim guy who he was like hacking these Muslim dating websites and like releasing all the data and like chat messages in there. Then you have like those types of douchebags.
I didn't catch all that because I think Akashic Flow is eating corn chips.
I said, I think it was like a few weeks ago, there's
Hey, I
like
get
this
to
Muslim
eat
hacker
too.
who was like purposely targeting like Muslim dating websites and was really, because they were like so easy. It was just like a SQL injection or something. And he would have all this like data and he was like releasing these chat conversations between, you know, like just people who want to find like a partner in life. Like how much of a douchebag do you have to be?
Not much one apparently, because people do that kind of crap. I had someone once threatened to dox some of my stuff off of a dating website once, and I was like,
Yeah, but
all the stuff I have is pretty, you know, pretty innocuous. So yeah, do it.
yeah, but this is the thing. You also have to see where the culture comes and their mentality. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have been in a country like that, but it's totally different. Like from the smells to the people, how they look at you,
Yes.
to
Yes.
to everything. I mean, I can't. It's like getting in a time machine and landing somewhere. It's like, have you ever gone to Cuba, to Habana, Cuba? You go there, and all the cars of the 1950s, you feel like you just landed in a different planet. And they have this thing, I forgot what it's called. It starts with a J. The Muslims, whatever religion is. And I mean, women are basically, they're treated like nothing. They're just objects. They're just like buying a car, and it's sad. At least it sucks. I mean, it really sucks because I mean, it's fucking 2017. And you know,
Yeah.
then they hack these websites.
It's the current year, right?
Justin Trudeau.
It's terrible. I mean, maybe I should like stop talking about this because I feel like no, like why? Sorry, I have like these internal struggles because I get constantly taught like people think I'm for some reason when I defend or not defend, but I try to add what's the word?
Advocate?
Try to speak out against like the way women are treated, right? And so many times I get called like a racist or what's the word? There's like another word, Nazi fascist, something like that. So, yeah, and they think of their culture as this, okay? In the US, we work incredibly hard, generally speaking. We work hard so we can, you know, succeed and provide a good life for our children, right? It is not that way in a lot of those cultures. And I'm telling you this, that they view children as like they bring children to support them. Once you understand this mindset, everything else makes sense. Like why else would a family bring a child into the world knowing they have no money, like they're already struggling, they continue to bring children, and then as soon as the girl turns like 9, they sell her literally for like a goat. I may have retweeted this like a few months ago, but this literally happens all the time. And sometimes like the local news will pick up on the story But
No, but the saddest part that a lot of people don't know about in the U.S. is that 90% of those girls end up in the sex trade. Yeah, they go for from Afghanistan, and they always are imported into Russia, and then from Russia they're just then distributed around the world, mostly, at least from that part of the world, which is really sad because it just ends a life.
yeah, I
Completely.
mean, this
It's
is
a
like
waste
the
of
local
life.
stuff. Yeah, it's considered like okay for like a girl once she hits puberty, so she could be like 10, 11 years old. It's like, okay, she's a woman now because she can bring children, so forget like whether she's emotionally mature or anything. She's ready for, to bring a family, even though she's a child herself.
There's also some weird stuff with male child prostitution. I heard of something called dancing boys.
Yeah, that too. I didn't think I'd be like talking about this stuff, but it is also part of the culture that they look for. And this is really strange. Like, I don't know if I want to talk about this, but this is what like people have said, that they target boys who kind of are like kind of effeminate. So they target those boys and they like seduce them. I mean, like they start being like their sugar daddy or something, like buying them candy and like giving them rides everywhere in like a nice car. It's like, I guess you could say it's like equivalent to like a young girl who just noticed like goes through her, what is that called? Okay. Anyways, this person's like working and can't help me. But imagine like a girl, she realizes she's beautiful and she can get stuff from guys, right? Like she can go on these dates and they can take her out shopping. It's kind of similar to that because these men, they spend like a lot of money on these guys and they're almost like their bodyguard. Like you can watch these videos of them dancing, and if someone is like trying to, like, this is going to sound really gross, but like if someone in the crowd who's watching the like this guy, this young boy, they're usually like 14 or something. They can be like 12, but they're usually like 14, 15. And you can see them. So there's like usually a crowd of people watching. And if a guy like gets rapey, literally like their sugar daddy will like defend them and, they like take care of them very well. It's very strange. It's, it's horrific. It's.
So wait, so do these kids become a commodity so they can trade them off for other stuff at the end of
Yes.
this?
That's the thing.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
They don't trade them. They're like so like protective of their boy, right? And I've heard stories of like boys who find like better pimps almost, and they end up like getting that other pimp in trouble and running off with this new pimp because they can provide like better cars and better, stuff, and he has like a higher he's like a higher class. It's such a, like, generally when you read about it in these like newspaper articles, it's very like simple, but it's a lot more dynamic. It's a lot more complicated. Like I'll have to do like a podcast on it one day.
I just know it from the Iraq perspective, where a boy told where a group, while I was dealing with a group of kids, and the kids was picking on this one guy, this one little boy, because he had, stuff with a guy. The saying goes that women are for babies, but boys are for fun.
Ugh, I hate that saying.
So you have heard it.
I've heard it, but I've never actually like heard it in the local language. But apparently it exists. So I mean, if the thing exists, and I wouldn't be surprised if like the saying exists in the local language. But I've always heard it, and like I've always seen it in articles and stuff. But I've never actually like heard someone use that term before.
I mean, it's just sad.
It is sad. How did we get on this topic? But if you want to know more about this topic, look at, there's a video on YouTube called Pakistan's Hidden Shame. And it's about like guys raping little boys. So that's different than the dancing thing, which is like a little bit more complicated. But that documentary does a pretty good job of like portraying how it's really like, because I've known people, like I've known like Afghan guys who when they were living in Pakistan were like molested. So it's like so common there. It just seems like every like guy I know who's like been to Afghanistan even for like a few months at a time has like some weird experience there.
Yeah, I heard
Wow.
they were raping the kids that they were training to be soldiers in Afghanistan, and they were also getting them hooked on morphine or heroin at the same time.
That's so
It's
crazy. You know that heroin is like the main drug to get like a slave to get hooked on. They do it with prostitutes. They do it with, I guess, everything. That sucks, man. I didn't hear that. I didn't know about that. That sucks. Makes me sad.
Sorry to come in on that comment. But,
it's weird because it's not consensual because they're so young. They're too young to understand. I'm talking about the dancing boys example, not the ones where like the children are being literally raped, but the kind where usually there's like gifts involved. It's like very economic. So they target like these poor boys who are gonna like jump to that opportunity because it's either that or starve, and they have like families they need to support. So it's like it gives them an opportunity almost. So that's why yeah.
So I thought the culture though was very anti-homosexual. So they have to keep this on the massive down low, or
It's not even like that. It's this person who has like this status in the community. I wouldn't say it's like they have a good status, but it's like they have a reputation. So it's just maybe like just some person that you don't like. They're that person, right? That's so and so. He does this. Generally speaking, it's not. Normal people aren't like that. Like the standard Afghan is not like that. But those people definitely exist, and I know that see, here's the weird thing, and that's why I question a lot of the journalists, because they have like this motive to always make the Taliban look bad. So whenever like something bad happens, they're just like pin it on the Taliban, right? And so the Taliban, this is for sure, everyone knows that the Taliban used to, these men who used to like find these young boys, right? They had very severe punishments for them. Like they used to drop like a wall. They used to drop like a wall on them, and usually like they wouldn't survive. So, yeah, but they didn't think it was right. So, because like they were molesting little boys. So that's like one of the thing people. That was one of the reasons why people.
A wall. So you are gonna die by wall. That's basically what they said. And they like did it by court. And
wall, right? So that's why like so many people who didn't believe in this stuff, because normal people are like victims of this stuff. They have like their children like taken into this, and like it's so hard to get their children out of it, because even the child gets used to it. Like you said, that they're drugged, or they're like, this is a better life than like the shit life I had before. Yeah, I have to like dance, but at least I'm not living in that like shithole before. It's really easy to say like, you know, this is how it is, but it's so much more complicated. But yeah, that's why like so many people initially like supported the Taliban, for example, because they were getting tired of like this lawlessness that was going on. And it was like a way to bring some type of, I don't know if you would call it like justice back into their society. Because during the wars, it was just completely like wild, wild west, where people were just doing whatever, like taking people's wives, taking people's daughters, taking people's sons. So, I mean, this group came in and brought some type of law into the country, and they're still supported today. I tweeted about this.
So I have a question, Jane. So what are the cyber laws as far as they're in Afghanistan right now? Like, are there any like hardcore laws? You can't use VPNs. Are they like banned, or they have a firewall and stuff like that?
I don't. As far as I know, there's no laws like that. But if you say things negative about the government, you can find like things can happen to you. And if you want to Google this, there's a case. There's like a Facebook page called like Kabul Taxi Driver or something. And I've heard, because no one knows for sure like what happened to author of that page, who was managing that page. So he was criticizing the government in a very satirical way, and he had so many followers. So I remember reading an article about how apparently his identity was found somehow, and so there wasn't a lot of details on it, so I can only like speculate, but his identity was found, and I believe he was like, I don't want to say he was tortured, but people were saying like the government, you know, did something bad to him. And the worst part is like there's not a lot of what is it called, right to press. Like journalists can have a lot of bad things happen to them, both from like, you know, the insurgency or whatever, but even from the Afghan government. They don't want to be criticized, especially like people who have a lot of power and are corrupt. They don't want to like draw attention, you know, to their bad dealings, right? And if you're a journalist, even if you're like anonymous, like it can happen. And that's like the one case where someone, like some journalists like wrote about it. And that was kind of what got me more into InfoSec, because I was really interested in these things, which is why like I always tweet about like free speech stuff. So if you're interested, it's the page was like Cobble Taxi. So yeah, I think
it muted you somehow.
I muted myself, and I was like trying to unmute, but I realized I hadn't muted. But I think I might have to go now. But this has been like really nice to talk about some of my experiences, because like why put it to waste, right? Like I have this experience, and maybe people should know about it.
Thanks.
Coming on, Janie.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thanks
Jenny.
for having me.
It's always nice to hear it.
Right.
The other
Send the info if you can.
Yeah, go ahead and email me anyone you think would be interested and has the drive and talent. I'll help them. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You bet.
Peace.
So various places where they really might need some technology along the lines of Tor, you know, the whole ways that people have been working on defeating that such. Places where they really need it, there's also places where they may not have the fast enough internet connection to make it viable.
Yeah, I could just imagine the complete lack of any kind of ethics or oversight in whoever's running the ISPs. You know, somebody that works there probably fires up Bro and watches all the encrypted traffic. Yeah, I mean, you probably can't trust any traffic, and yeah, and if it's too slow to really use VPN or Tor or something reliably, yeah, it could be a big mess.
Yeah, but
like I
this is
say.
the thing. If you don't know what you're doing and they're like controlling the exit node, you're screwed anyway.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
much.
true.
Yeah,
Also,
so
depending on how we press the
it's
company
like-
is, if they notice you sending any kind of encrypted traffic at all, they might bring up some questions. That said, Tor has been working on in the past. I can't remember the terminology for it, but basically making the Tor protocol look like a different protocol.
what?
Tor has
Are
been
they
doing
like-
work on making the Tor protocol look like something else, like Skype or something else.
So they're just changing the header of the packet?
Not the header of the packet, more than that, and how to shape it to make it look like something else. Because default Tor traffic, you may not know what's in it, but my understanding it's easy to tell it's Tor.
Well, because of the whatever it's called, I forgot what it's called. Whatever makes the 3 connections and it comes back with that signature, I forgot what it's called.
I think it has to do with certain packet sizes that are standardized. It's been a while since I looked at it, but apparently you can tell Tor traffic is Tor traffic. Well, if nothing else, assuming you're not hitting a hidden, assuming you're not hitting someone's echoing and it's messing with my head. Assuming that you're not hitting an unadvertised node for the first hit, because all unadvertised nodes you can get a small selection from Tor. You can look up in the directory and see, oh, this IP address they're hitting is a Tor node, so they must be using Tor. If nothing else, you can do that. Assuming it's not one of the ones that are unlisted.
I see.
Because all unlisted entry nodes you can use just for special cases. That's to keep people from doing a complete block of Tor. And you can request those via emails or there's a certain Tor website.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of like I2P, because you kind of like can keep on the chain and just you don't come back the same way you went in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like a one-way, which I learned thanks to you when you were doing your a long time ago. When you're like first talking about it. I really got into it and I haven't looked back since.
I need to do some more research on Tor and ITP. Those talks usually go pretty well. I've done a two-parter so far of people that got caught on darknets using Tor and I2P. But I wonder if there's been enough people caught since I did my last talk that I could do a third one. Pretty much in all those cases, though, it was bad operational security. It was bad. It's like application layer stuff, not protocol layer stuff that got people caught.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be bad habits, wouldn't it?
Well, things like not updating the Tor browser bundle, so they had there was an exploit available, and the FBI seized one server. They were able to put malware code on there, and then they were able to get that malware code running into other boxes, which then dialed back using the actual public IP addresses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
they just use like a beef hook basically. They just embed JavaScript in it and then execute it from the machine to ping the server, and then that server will automate everything.
Yeah, way back in the
Like
day
that.
on I2P, I was de-anonymizing some I2P websites because they would host the actual I2P website, the EAP site, on a public IP, and it should only be listed on local host. But it was also listed on a public IP. So if you hit that public IP, which you could pull out of the cloud of IP addresses that you know are inside of I2P, you hit it and make a web request and say, this is my host name and something that I2P, if it served up the same I2P webpage, well, you know you found out who's actually hosting that EAP site.
Oh yeah.
I need to get a passion for doing some of this stuff.
This is what people don't. Yeah, what I try to teach people is like the techniques that an attacker and law enforcement will use are the same. It's just the end result that changes. You know, and nothing has really changed for years. It's just, well, yeah. Let's say the only thing that's changed is now there's a lot more nodes, so it's a lot harder to find people if you don't do it right. I mean, there's some malware out there that will auto destroy itself, or you know, there's some like malware coming out that once you discover it, it becomes it just downloads the module, becomes ransomware, and then it just becomes ransomware in your system, and then all your systems become ransomware. It's kind of like a failsafe, and you're screwed because once it initiates that, it starts cleaning everything and corrupting stuff. It'll leave your files intact, but any logs or any like anything you can actually use gets destroyed to the point that some machines won't even boot. But it's all the same. It's just a matter of, you know, ethics.
So, has anybody heard this week about lbry.io?
No.
It's a new thing that was mentioned on a podcast I was watching, and it's a distributed content discovery and hosting network that is aiming to be like an open source YouTube. It looks pretty cool. I don't know much about it at the moment, but there's a developer beta at the moment that you can sign up for if you've got a GitHub account, and it looks pretty cool.
Send us the link. Dude.
Let me get you guys a link. Hang on, 2 seconds.
2 seconds are up.
Being littler.
Cheers, Brian.
Oh, one more day of work. Oh.
Yeah, I got a lot of days of work. I'm gonna do some day work. Cypher Conference, for whatever reason, they're doing this 5 p.m. to midnight on Thursday and Friday. So I'll be doing some work during the day, and then at night I'm doing the con.
Wow. the company I subcontract for hired an ex-military security team to overlook the strike. Should get interesting.
I should be a psychic or what? I told you this.
Well, I knew.
Which strike are we talking
Woo!
What's up, Charles?
What's up?
Hey, Charles.
How's everyone doing today?
We're waiting for you, Charles. What's up? You're here now. Talk.
Oh man, just feeling awesome again. It's another wonderful Wednesday, and I'm rocking out. Yeah.
You are definitely doing better than I am right now.
This is awesome.
Yeah, like each day I wake up, man, I just try to just enjoy myself and live life and have fun, man. That's it. You know, I just finished playing a good session of Sonic the Hedgehog, so I'm just super amped right now because I beat it again as an adult. Woo!
Good for you.
Yes. The things, priorities in life. But yeah, also too, I'm starting a new gig come Monday with Spider Labs.
What?
Congrats.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Like
Gonna call
only
my
a
friends and
spider
get you
can.
fired.
Spider Labs. I'll be doing
I don't want you
doing,
there. Those are my
I'll be
clients.
doing. Come on, man.
No, they're good people, man. They're good.
No,
people.
it's cool. I'll be doing like dual-headed stuff too, because it's a couple of things. I'm gonna be with Trustway, but also like Spider Lab. So it's kind of like I'll be like wearing double hats for a second until they can get some more.
Wait. Is there a merger happening?
No,
No. Should I go look at my stock portfolio really quick and get ahead of this?
I thought Trustwave owned Spider Labs.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
He's joking.
Yeah, so they own it.
Confusing the shit out of me there. I was like, what?
Yeah. I was just joking.
Yeah, they own Spider Lab. So yeah, so it's because I'll be working out of the office in Reston, Virginia. They have a government solutions office in Reston. So it's pretty cool. Definitely excited. Met with a lot of people today. So great vibe, great energy, and I think we're going to get a lot accomplished.
No wonder you're on Cloud 9. Nice.
Yeah, but even before that, I stay on Cloud 9. This is nothing new. They can tell you.
That's just Charles. That's just awesome Charles.
Last time he needed that coffee before he hit that cloud.
Yeah. It was a coffee night that night, but yeah, it's just just feeling good, feeling on top of the world. And that's it. And the weather was nice today. It just made it that much more perfect. You know, I rode around listening to some ACDC. So.
How old of ACDC?
I know most of them are like in their 60s, right?
No. How old? I mean, are we going back to Bon Scott days? Or we, you know?
You're asking me? I mean, I was just kind of like all over the place, listening to all their old stuff, even like in the beginning, from the early days all the way until now. Well, more recent.
Yeah, no. Brian Johnson, he eventually had to leave, or they kind of forced him out because he was sick. What, didn't they?
I think so.
I heard they replaced him though with someone that it came out as being silly. I'm trying to remember who they replaced him with.
I'm trying to think. God, sheesh.
Yeah, because Brian Johnson came on after the name escaped me. Damn it, Bon Scott died.
Yeah.
Apparently, Bon Scott actually was recommending Johnson if anything ever happened to him.
Yeah. And then I think he died not too far after that, right? Not too long after that.
Yeah, Axl Rose apparently.
Huh.
Yeah, I have to hear that sometime. That I don't know about that.
Because I was listening mostly. I was listening a lot to like Thunderstruck.
I love that one.
So I was kind of like riding around.
Album that came out in like '89 or something.
Yeah.
ACDC underwent several lineup changes before releasing the first album, High Voltage, in 1975. Malcolm and Angus, the only original members of the band, left. Membership subsequently stayed by
That's
Mark.
kind of garbled, Pseudo.
Sorry, I'll try and speak louder. It was subsequently stabilized until bassist Mark Evans was replaced by Cliff Williams in 1977 for the album Power Rage.
I'll be right back.
And yeah, it says Bon Scott died on the 19th of February 1980. And reading through here, ex-Geordie Brian Johnson was auditioned and selected to replace Scott later that year. And then they released Back in Black.
Which is kind of weird, you know. Your main your lead singer dies of. I've heard different things. I've heard alcohol poisoning, and I've heard it fixated on his own vomit. Either way, alcohol was involved, my understanding. And the next album, you have a song on an album called Back in Black. You have a song titled "Have a Drink on Me."
Yeah, I think it was the latter. I've heard it mentioned before.
Interesting.
No. He choked on someone else's vomit. Thank you very much, John, for that input.
Oh, nice.
Wait, I forgot. Wasn't that like that wasn't that Hackers movie where that guy makes that mixtape where everybody died?
I'm pretty sure he's Australian and not Japanese, right? Actually, isn't most of the people in at least in the original band, most of them Australian? Fuck, I have to go Wikipedia this stuff up now.
Yeah, you're way out of my knowledge scope on that one. I know.
I'm not a big music fan, but I was a big fan of ACDC when I was younger. So
I know I used to do computer repair for Brian Johnson. He lives in my where I grew up on Siesta Key, Florida.
Oh yeah.
The same Brian Johnson?
Yep, the Brian Johnson.
Oh, cool. Okay, Bon Scott was Scottish, born Australian. Wait, he was born in Scotland, but
Raised Australian?
Yeah. And let's see. Looking at some of the other ones. Brian Johnson apparently is English. So I don't know if anybody heard the earlier part of the cast, but if anybody actually, I want to set some way of chatting or sending out a list of things that might want to talk about. Like I was only was really talking about earlier. I was covering some stuff that was happening with the Alfa Bank supposedly communicating with servers that belonged to Trump, which really didn't belong to Trump, and a threatening letter of sorts that was sent to a professor. I need a way of actually getting that information out. I tried tweeting it out, last night. Maybe I figured someone might catch it in my tweet feed. That's an inefficient way. What's a good way to communicate with everybody?
Email.
Yeah,
I don't have everybody's email.
you should from the group chats.
How do I extract emails from group chats?
Click on the menu, then go to people.
Yeah.
And then you click next to the person, send message, video call, voice call, view profile.
So I have to collect one by one from all of you.
No, you can just go in the old Hangouts and just leave the information and it'll still work.
I don't know old Hangouts.
Meaning when you create this Hangout conversation, it stays. So you can it's like Mary started calling us the other day, last Thursday, and we were all talking again in the same Hangouts. So you can go back into it and it will all receive it. Even though there's nobody there, we'll all receive a message like, hey.
Yeah, kind of like
what's
work
up?
the chat log. So if you post a message to Hangout that was previously live, it'll come through to everybody that was in that Hangout on that day.
If they don't leave that Hangout.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you want my email, I can give you my email.
All right, let me do that in a bit. I'm just trying to figure out how to get to old ones. Conversation.
Not put mine in the Hangouts. So.
Or probably you can probably using the Google Developers API, you can extract them. I know I've done that before. I think I have a script somewhere that I can send you. You're gonna need an OAuth key though, that you gotta get from the developer console from Google to actually extract.
All right, click on conversations. I don't see anything new coming up.
You certainly used to be able to do it. I haven't used that feature.
And I've seen y'all message me via it, and I'm like, okay, how do I get rid of this? Actually, at the time, oh well. Whatever subject you got for tonight.
Well, let me see here. There was just what just came across my feed.
You guys have definitely got to check that library thing out, lbry.io. It's going to be huge, hopefully.
Okay. Police arrest man potentially linked to group threatening to wipe millions of iPhones. That person was caught.
What? He was really?
Yeah.
Who was it, and where was he?
The UK.
I told you, man, that was a bad idea to fuck with fucking. Remember we were talking about that? I was like, man, that's a bad idea.
What a dumbass. Anyway, I'm going to hold Apple to ransom. Okay.
Dude, he could have made so much money just for like reporting the bug.
He held a ransom for $75,000. Like
I know, right?
What?
Like, I know. I think he did it on purpose to get a job or something.
Yeah, I mean,
because now when he gets out, he gets a job. Like, I'm thinking, hey, how about if I get caught with something really badass and I get a job forever?
And then you do the rounds for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'll go to Club Fed. You know, if I pass the $1.5 million mark, I'll be with all the bankers and stuff like that. It's not going to be dangerous.
But no, not really, because they might send you. They might not send you to Club Fed. They might send you to federal buttfuck prison.
Yeah. Well, it depends.
Well, you might like that too.
I mean, no, I'm not into that. But I mean, they might do them like they did Weave.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I guess it depends on the crime and how you deal with it. Who's your lawyer and who's the prosecutor? So many variables. Judge. Definitely not. Like, I mean, if you get in a situation like that, signing a plea agreement is not the way to go. So you can appeal it at the end. Because once you get that plea agreement, you're screwed. You can't change it. But it's just kind of crazy. Like I know I met a guy that back in the 90s he got caught and he made a deal and he got like fucking his name changed, new social, new identity, everything. And it's fucking crazy just because he had this 1-0 day they wanted. And it's the record clean.
And he told you about that?
Huh? No, I saw it. Yeah, he told me about it because I was there in the meeting. Like, when he was like, you know, giving his presentation of who he was and all this shit, he was telling us that. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what he claimed to be. When he was like, he's like the CTO of a company now. You know, it's just sad because some people get better treatment than others. I mean, the legal system is just a business like any other business. It just depends what you got.
Right, like the whole Minnick thing. He got boned. It was bad. But
yeah, but Kevin provoked them, you know.
Well, yeah.
You know, like Kevin provoked them. Like Kevin, he had a way out of it, but he just didn't. He wasn't gonna do it, you know.
Yeah,
he said, I'm gonna do the time. Fuck that shit.
And the court system back then was so inadequate to really prosecute his case anyways. That was really the unfair part of it.
Yeah. I mean, somebody claimed that he could whistle in launch codes.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
you gotta get the launch codes first, and you need like what? You gotta at least find there's 2 different launch codes. You know what I mean? There's 2 different keys that need to be switched.
What you mean the one that's set to 000000000?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Seriously,
it's crazy.
such a bad default code especially for a nuclear weapon.
Right. What if you like accidentally set like a manual on top of the 0 key and it just fucking spams it in? It's terrible.
Whatever. You know that apparently there's still phone lines, I bet, in the fucking nuclear situation to launch the fucking things. I don't know. It's kind of sad. You know, when they compare, I saw this documentary, they were comparing the Russian nuclear force versus the American nuclear force. We're fucked.
But they had more than
Really?
Well, I mean, we're fucked anyway. Once you launch a nuke, that's it. Game's over.
Dude, they have a nuke that spreads out 5 nukes. One
Yeah.
big rocket that goes up in the air and
I don't
then
know.
throws 4
I don't-
other ones to 4 other countries, and the thing is the nuke itself.
I don't think the U.S. discloses all their nuclear capabilities that like Russia does though. Like Russia has that like Army Day, right, where they just like, hey, here's everything we got. Let's throw it down Main Street, Moscow, and like just fucking parade it down there. They fly every plane
Well, I
they
mean,
have,
yeah,
every
they-
tank.
They do, but I'm sure they hold some things back.
You know, I actually
Oh
heard
yeah.
some of the
I mean, everybody does it.
some,
Well,
some
to a point.
I was going to say, Jack, some of the vehicles I've heard that they use on the parade are actually wooden mock-ups of things.
Right.
Yeah, but what I heard
wouldn't
from
doubt
from
that
like
at all.
from like a war strategist a couple years ago in a conference in DC was he was saying the perfect way to invade a country is not to destroy it with a nuclear weapon, is to use a nuclear weapon to create an EMP and then invade it.
Yes.
Because if you explode a nuclear weapon on the stratosphere in a certain way, you can create an EMP that will basically cover a lot more, and basically then you invade it because it's going to be in the dark kind of thing.
They did some tests over Australia a long time ago where they actually did detonate a nuclear weapon in the stratosphere or the ionosphere, and it did.
Is that
Yeah.
ionosphere? Yeah.
It took out power lines and telephone lines and various different things.
Oh yeah, everything's gonna burn. I mean, on fire. I mean, some people might, whoever have like those pacifiers are gonna die for sure. Their heart's gonna stop unless they're like Faraday caged or something fairly well.
We do get affected sometimes by the sun and the solar radiation that we get. Apparently, the last time when we actually got a blast, the only machines that were in use that were electronic were telegraph machines, and they were like synced up pendulums. So this is going back to almost the 18th century. But yeah, things nowadays would be a hell of a lot worse.
We are due for a solar flare. I think they're like.
And he's gone.
He's all gonna die.
You just got DDoSed for saying that. Way to go.
Welcome back.
Let me hear. I'll leave. Stop DDoSing my shit.
I told you.
What? You told me what?
As soon as you left, I'm like, yep, my DDoS finally worked,
Really, James? I'm hoping you out. This is how you treat me.
Sorry.
Friends. I don't care.
I'm just trying to keep you on your game, man. Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, apparently, yeah. I mean, apparently we're due for one. Like, and apparently they happen when there's like the black spots in the sun or whatever. I really don't know. But I believe there's these satellites now that can detect them.
Not detect them. They don't detect them per se, because I mean, if one's gonna hit, the only warning we're gonna get is like a 7-minute warning.
Yeah. It's like 3 different satellites that are like far away, whatever. But
Right.
I mean, have you guys seen like the solar weather website by any chance?
Yeah, one of my paranoid infosec friends on Facebook.
Sorry for laughing. Come on.
He's always pointing out asteroids and solar weather, and I'm like, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's no way around it. But he's
Yeah,
like, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. I'm like, okay.
Do you know if Nikolai Tesla would have done that whatever thing he wanted to do, it would have protected us from all that, from all solar flares and all that stuff. It would have like charged the ionosphere in a way where the weight will be like stronger, so the magnetism would have been increased, and basically it would go around it and charge it when it happened. So this basically you'll see like aurora borealis everywhere type of thing. Well, not everywhere, but wherever it hit, and it would have helped us.
Yeah. Going back to the nukes, Acacia as well. The yield from the weapons has increased like exponentially since they set off nukes in war. That's the one problem that we've got now is the nuclear weapons are far too powerful for what they actually want them for.
And that's why I said once you launch one, the game's over. I mean, it's
yeah.
Oh yeah, have you guys ever played that game? Played the game DEFCON?
Yeah, isn't there like this wave that happens that will like get captured, like the radiation gets captured in these like winds that travel around the world, and you're gonna see like you won't even basically be able to see, like they put in the movies, like it's a green cloud that comes by and people die. No, you don't see it. It just goes by and it's just a wave of radiation just traveling the world until it dissipates.
Right, and no country is going to launch just one. They're going to launch them all.
It's true.
That sucks. You know that Russia is one of the if you're a civilian that doesn't have any money, is only the places that you'll be able to survive. They have like underground cities and stuff like that ready to go.
Well, looks like we're moving to Russia.
Yeah, they won't. I don't think they're gonna let you in there.
Oh yeah.
As far as underground cities that we're not allowed in, we got a whole bunch of them here too.
Yeah, but it's not for the regular folk. You know, it's for the people who are running the world, the CEOs and the billionaire bitches and shit like that. Sorry.
Maybe if we agree to hand them over to Russia, then maybe we have a chance.
Somebody said something about like, say, if you find like an old copper mine or something like that, something with like metal, or I forgot what it was, but there's this type of metal that will like actually shield you and help you, but you have to like seal it, but you'll be in the dark forever.
Yeah, copper would do that.
What?
Copper would do that. They use it for is it Faraday cages? They
Yeah,
use
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I'd want to be one of the survivors of a big fallout event though. Yeah, I mean life would really suck for a long time if, you know, depending on the magnitude, and you know, if it was a more or less global event, I think I'd rather be topside and go out with the bang.
With a blunt in my hand and a 40 in the other.
Oh my god.
A 40.
A 40.
I don't know if you guys heard of a book called Z for Zachariah. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, it's a good book. It's a very good book. If you get time, you should check it out.
Okay.
It's about a survivor that survives a nuclear holocaust and the kind of stuff that they have to endure, and certain things happen to them. Of course. But what else was I going to say? There's something else I was going to say. Can you imagine if the end of the world did come to everything, and they've got this little segregated society that's living underground, and they've got all the machinery. They're still going to have all the problems that we have today, because not all of them are going to agree with one another. They're still going to have their little, do you know what I mean?
Arguments and stuff like that. Yeah.
Of course.
It's still going to be a really sad place to live, and then you know you don't have the populace, you don't have the amount of people that they've got. It's a much smaller group, so I think things would probably be a hell of a lot worse for that surviving group.
Right. And then it's going to be all about strength in numbers. It's going to be a walking dead scenario where whoever has the biggest group and can take over the most area and secure it is probably going to be better off.
Yeah, and it's gonna be sad because say if you come across a government establishment, there will be orders to shoot to kill because they don't have the resources. Yeah, because they do a head count, right? And they don't have the resources, so you're not part of the FEMA camp.
Anybody with more than one head gets popped.
That's scary.
Oh man, yeah. This is why I wish we were like, I wish we were so in the future that we could have like cities under the sea or something like that.
Yeah.
And then just live underwater forever.
Be neighbors with Charlie too.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It would be very interesting.
Yeah, we can all move to Charles' house.
Ooh, come on over.
Have a good time. And make our own little
time,
and make the last DerbyCon.
Man,
Go to my
DerbyCon is my medicine.
Medicine.
call it Fallout.
You got to take an old computer and wrap it in a Faraday cage just so we still have MAME.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting.
There is actually there's some guy making just like you've described, Brian. I can't think what it was, but they were making a doomsday computer that was built in a Faraday cage that would hold the contents of like, Wikipedia on it if ever there was some kind of EMP or disaster.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, we all ought to buy we ought to buy a disused mine and convert it into apartments because I'd move in straight away.
Oh.
Hey, you smell my hair?
Yeah. Ouch.
So, Charles, did you get any further with your Switch at all?
No, I haven't had a chance to play with it this week too much. Gonna resume probably this weekend. Probably play around with it and have some just see what else I can actually do. I'm actually wait for I couldn't find my screwdriver set for some reason. I needed a Torx screwdriver, mini Torx. So I had to order a new one, so I gotta wait for that to come in too. So
Dude, Radio Shack has this amazing set.
There's still a Radio Shack?
Yeah, there's still
yeah,
Radio
dude,
Shack.
I love it.
They're rare.
Cell phones?
What?
Do they sell anything but cell phones?
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
sell all kinds of stuff now. They sell
Yes.
like at least I get all the last minute antenna stuff I need when I build my custom antennas. And
All the
stuff.
stuff near me is closed down pretty much.
They still
Yeah,
have all kind of stuff to do.
We've got a Fry's around here, so that pretty much, much better selection than Radio Shack ever had. So.
Yeah, I don't have fries nearby. I wish I did.
Oh yeah, Fry's is definitely the Chiza for sure.
Yeah, when I was in Hampton Roads, we had a Radio Shack. I mean, and I think they just recently closed it down.
Apparently they're going just on apparently they're making a lot of money out of their warehouses, just people ordering things online. So the stores, plus they're franchised out.
Yeah.
And many of the franchisees are just going bankrupt because they can't compete.
Yeah.
Like the only people that will go there. Yeah, the only people who go there is like techs needing something, a trucker needing a CB radio. Like I got my CB radio from Radio Shack.
How much are the CB radios? I wonder.
Mine was like $250.
Not bad.
Yeah, you're better off getting a used one at a truck stop that's already been clipped and modded and extra channels. I mean, you can get them cheaper than a new one, and all the work's already done to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Dirty.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I miss the old, like I said, the old computer stores. Like I said, the old computer shops, man. People really knew their hardware back then.
But something I heard is that are popping out are like these little like speakeasies in Seattle. They're like little hacker speakeasies. Have you guys gone to any of these?
Yeah.
Where like they took a speakeasy as like a little like barber shop, and then you walk in there and then you go in the back and they have like it's like a hacker space.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like you need to know the answer to the riddle, and then you walk in there. But it's they don't say any alcohol. You can just get like say last minute things you need and stuff like that. There's no internet. There's no Wi-Fi. The only one I've been to. But you just can go get gear if you need it, stuff like that.
There's a lot of maker spaces popping up in North Carolina. They have a bunch of pretty big warehouse size type things that are like a hacker space, but they call themselves maker spaces so they can get the federal tax deduction.
Huh. There's a federal tax deduction on those?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Well, if
Tell
you're
me about this.
501c, right?
Well, if you call yourself a hacker space, you won't get it. So they have to call themselves maker spaces.
But you also have to file for a 501c, which my understanding is a pain in the ass.
It is, but it automatically gets declined if you have hacker or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but apparently what's a pain in the ass is actually doing the paperwork right, because if you do it wrong, when tax season comes, they screw you over.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah. And also, but apparently 501c4s are a lot easier to do and have a lot less regulation and a lot more leeway. So 501c4s are basically like 501c3s nonprofits, but with a marketing thing behind them. Like mostly politicians use 501c4s to kind of like lobby ideas and stuff like that. And they get like full on, like it's a scam.
I believe it.
So have you guys ever heard of 501c4s before?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just insane. I mean, the laws are made for the mans who run the laws, not for the man who needs to be abided by them.
Oh man, I'm trying to find a new name for my blog, for a blogger. I was going with trying to find a name that's not already freaking like taken. I'm looking at, I think I found one, infophreak.com.
Iron Sheep.
Iron Sheep.
That should be.
I think he's got that taken already.
Yeah, that's taken. Nah, I think I'm gonna call it infophreak.com. I like info, and I learned phreaking late, unfortunately, but I had fun, and that's because of age. Nothing I could do about that. Because by the time I even looked at phreaking, it was a dead art.
What was a dead art?
Phreaking.
It's still
Phone
an art. People still do it. I mean, probably not in America, but you can go to other countries.
Yeah.
And you can still break the phone cable, take out the black wire, the ground, and then you hit it on the same wire, and then it just you get the dial tone.
Like I said, I got into it late. Like my one of my good friends that I learned about phreaking from, this you talk about 1998 to 99. Like,
dude, you can still make your own kind of like beach box or red box.
Well, I made the black. I've made the black box before.
But hear me out. You can fuck with like Cisco switches and IPXs and stuff like that. If you have like custom tones and you have the right things, you can still. I mean, not with every single one of them, but misconfigured ones, you can still play around with. When you have to like dial 9 to call out.
Yeah.
Yeah, or some places what you can do is, well, I mean, it's not phone freaking, but say you get a Google Voice number, and they don't let you make long distance calls, only local calls. So you make a Google Voice number that is local to that state. So you call to your Google Voice number, and then from your Google Voice number, you press 3 or 4, I believe, and then you type down the number you want to call, so you can call out.
Huh.
So, I don't know.
I mean,
well,
you know.
I remember.
No, but that's what made me think about it. Like I miss that era. I miss that era actually. You know, like I said, 98. For 1998, I was 18 years old, so it was kind of like just feeling my way out into the world.
I still remember my biggest quote unquote hack for MCI back in the day, which was pressing 5 times, and it wouldn't charge you.
Wow.
So
Sprint
so I was
MCI.
So I was calling friends over in the UK.
Unrelated, but MCI reminded me they back in dial-up days they used to offer an unlimited dial-up plan, and it could be used simultaneously multiple locations. So like one friend of mine got the this $15 a month plan, and then 4 of us were using it, and I had 2 phone lines, and he'd get bills that had twice as many minutes as there are in a month. And then at the bottom of it would say, this month you saved, and it'd be like $7,500 by using MCI. Or
yeah,
that's pretty funny.
But I'm telling you, I mean, also the guy who made the SCT, I forgot his name. I'm bad with names. The Set Tool Cook and Artillery. He also did this big talk on hacking faxes and phones. I mean, there's still things out there. There's still dial-up servers. You can still use AOL today.
So what did this person do before that?
Artillery. I think it's your boss, isn't it?
Yeah, Dave Kennedy.
Yeah, Dave Kennedy. Didn't he make a talk on a DEF CON, what it was, acoustics or whatever, where he started dialing numbers and word dialing numbers and seeing if he got
HD more
tones?
Yeah, HD more.
HD more, there you go.
Okay.
I think he was part of Artillery too, I don't know.
I don't think he was part of Artillery, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, Artillery is Dave's thing.
Yeah, HD Moore created Metasploit and does Rapid7.
Yeah.
He's one of the CEOs, or he's like a board member on Rapid7. He's the one that's doing all the acoustics, and he's going back to the phone phreaking stuff. He actually started a whole new branch of his company for that in Austin, Texas recently. I went out there to check it out. I'm a big Metasploit customer, so I go to their.
You just walk in, they know
con.
you.
Oh yeah.
You're like, hey James, how are you doing? We're like, tea, sushi. Here's our menu.
No, their headquarters is in Boston, so it's more like, here's a beer. Let's go down to the harbor and get drunk. I was like, all right, cool.
All right, cool.
I think the best phone hack I've ever heard is the one where you dial into a company and you ask to be put through to extension 9150, and 9 is the outside line, and then 150 is the international operator.
Is that for London?
That still works today.
That works like everywhere. So then you can you get forwarded to the international operator, and then you can connect you to another number.
I bet there has to be something that, I don't know, that somebody can still discover, because it's been so abandoned that there has to be something out there, like the Whopper. Remember that movie? What was
the thing with all the VoIP phones? There was something in the news this week about Cisco and VoIP IP phones. So I can't remember what it was though.
Oh, there's I read about it last week. Basically, there was this telnet thing that was basically enabled in a lot of Cisco switches, and it was vulnerable the way
So the same for the VoIP phones then, same service or
as we speak.
Protocol. I'm going to go and see if I can get advanced on. I know he's idling in Mumble at the moment.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm just writing.
Yeah.
Someone's requested I tweet something, so I'm tweeting something out.
Yeah, but come on, Jack.
Well, gents, I tried. I'm nodding off here, and I don't want to be an Adrian and start snoring.
Come on. You have to.
Hello.
Nope.
Jack. Come on, Jack.
Nope.
Come on. All right, man. You have a good day.
Night, man.
All right,
Take
night.
it easy, Jack.
Peace, dude.
Someone wanted me to mention hacker strips.
Hacker strips.
Hacker strip. So my comment on Twitter is, of course, checking out hacker strip at hackerstrip.wordpress.com. It's comic strips, not poll type strips.
What's going on? Is everybody just leaving all of a sudden?
Yeah, because you got out here. People, let's go to the next channel.
It's probably not gonna be a really long. It's probably not gonna be a really long running podcast. Also, if you all have ideas, the best way to communicate with everybody, like show ideas. Like I had an idea. I wanted to discuss the whole Alfa Bank, Trump not being Trump, the Gene Camp thing. But I have to get the link out to everybody so they can actually read it ahead of time, or at least a few people. So it's just not me pontificating on it.
You guys are all welcome to the Mumble server, by the way. You know, if you want to jump on the Mumble server just to discuss the podcast, it's there to use.
I thought you were going to be discussing that today, and then I come and it's all about like raping boys in the third world, and that was.
We covered that in the first few minutes. I was the only one that knew anything about it.
I know, but hey, you know what? I got educated. I didn't know a lot about it. I'm mad, but at least we talk about everything here, man.
So we ran out real fast. Do you have anything to say on it, George?
No. I was hoping to hear what people had to say on it.
Well, I said everything I have to say on it in the first few minutes. It probably wasn't the most articulate in the world. I also put a bunch of things in the show notes. But I need to figure out a better way of doing show notes. Actually, you know what? How about I do this? How about I make a Google Doc where I can put show notes?
Why not?
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, everyone can edit it, I guess. Or no, I was thinking about ideas for next shows.
Required reading with the quiz to get into the chat.
I share out a doc. People can request to be added, right?
Oh my god, you guys! I was pissing myself laughing whilst you were doing that cyber quiz last week. I don't know if there's anybody on the room.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, we should do a cyber quiz. Let's do it. Let's find the cube and the wizard and the walls.
Data castle in the sky or something. I can't remember what it was, but I was just pissing myself laughing.
No, dude, the test is a fucking joke. I'm telling you, we should have a battle. Search versus non-search.
You all could. Right. You can request write access to something, can't you?
You can.
You can share
give
it
us
out,
access,
and
yeah.
you can, when you create the doc, you stick it in a new folder, and just if you right click on it, you'll pick share, and you can list the people you want to give access to.
Yeah, but I would say if they can request it, that way I don't have to go looking for them.
I think I just requested. Let me know.
Yeah, I just requested as well.
Yeah. Also, for those who are interested, we have like a little Discord channel where I'm gonna be doing reverse engineering with anybody who wants to. I mean, I work too, but we're gonna be tackling some cool stuff.
Can I just lurk and steal all your tricks?
You can take all the tricks, just teach other people, pay it forward. I don't care. A true master is not afraid of teaching others his skills.
Oh no, I'm not even a novice. I'm just.
I never figured out that image gallery one.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out the tutorials, but we should definitely do it like once a day. Like, go to the old CTFs and kind of like see how they did it, and just kind of like break it down for ourselves. But I'm trying to figure out a way where I can like record my terminal and then post it somewhere, not on YouTube.
You can do
but
like
on-
Twitch.
Yeah, but I want to just keep it for us, and then if it's really good, then we can put it out there. We vote on it or something.
You can just do YouTube and then don't list it though.
Yeah,
Do a
that
whole
too.
TMUX session. Have everybody sitting on a TMUX session.
I just bought an Elgato whatever thingy to like record my screen, but let's see what happens.
What about OBS?
Well, yeah, the thing is, I'm using Cubes OS to do everything. So I gotta like basically with the Elgato, you plug in your HDMI to this device, and this device gets plugged into your screen, external
Yeah,
screen.
I use an Elgato as one of my capturing devices for cons.
And basically it just exports your screen, so you don't have to worry about the processing or anything. It does it. A friend of mine who does like gaming and stuff like that on Twitch, he recommended it. He's sending me one to like, I bought one and he's sending me like a whatever, like a PCIe card. Apparently there's one like a Pro or something, so I can try out. But that's about it.
I need to figure out something in my capture rig. It's having some problems with the timing. The longer it streams, the more off it gets.
It drifts. Well, if it's drifting, are they getting sync? What do you have?
I have two capture devices. The Elgato is being used for slides, but the camera is being captured via a little no-name Chinese thing that's basically it's basically an unlabeled device of a different make. I don't remember what it's called, and someone is loopbacking.
Talk now.
Hello, how you doing?
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if you can like embed a time code on the stream and then have it synced, so it stays synced. Because I saw one of your videos. We can talk about it off air. There are no slides. The 17-minute one. They keep on blinking. Keeps on refreshing it. It doesn't like really. You can't see anything. The one with the robot text, whatever, the Google dorking one.
Oh yeah, someone we added in video on a different version of that. Someone fixed it for me.
Oh, sweet. All right, at least the one I have, I couldn't see it. I hear somebody in the background. Who is it? Here it is. I found this problem.
Well, I'm trying to send an email right now to arrange some stuff for my uncle's estate.
So George, do you have the Discord channel thing? What's up, Jims?
Do I have what?
The Discord channel?
No, I don't believe so.
All right, let me get a link and I'll put it on the chat. There's also a Mumble channel that Sudo and Advance have as well. But are you there, Sudo or Advance?
Advanced, let's not troll the notes too much. I want to use this as something like, here's something I want to discuss. Let's add this.
Yeah, I mean, but Discord is really good for that.
Yeah, you guys feel free to join any time. If you want the Mumble details, either just drop me a tweet, or I can put them up in a Hangout. But I prefer to do it a little bit more privately, so we can just keep it to a select group of people.
Speaking of mumble, you need to speak up a little bit there. You're mumbling.
Sorry, this bloody microphone's absolutely terrible. But next week I'll have something a little bit better. But yeah, feel free to use the Mumble. If you want the details, just drop me a tweet or message me.
Did anyone manage to pop that box I gave up last week?
It went down. I tried for a little bit, but it just stopped.
Oh, it's answering pings. I don't know.
Did you restart it after the fact?
If it goes down, just ping me on Twitter and I can keep bringing it back up. It's a little unreliable. So the challenge here would obviously be to get a shell, not to take it down.
Do you know there's this GitHub repository? It's the Facebook CTF repository. You can probably put that up there and kind of like make a challenge that's actually getting into your box. I don't know. This is an idea.
I will try that in the future.
Or you can basically create if you have Docker, you can create a container that has basically the same firewall settings and whatever. So we don't actually go inside your box. We fall inside the container. Not saying that you can't escape the container if you know what you're doing, but depending on what's happening. But it just gives you this little like buffer between.
I'm with you. I will look into that.
All right, let me get this thing.
I'm inspecting your box right now.
Hey, big boy.
Oh my goodness.
Gentle, it's delicate.
Let the DDoS
Delicate.
begin.
The what?
Let the DDoS begin. Oh, I was checking out Cube's OS.
Yeah. Did you install it yet?
No, I didn't install it. I was just looking into it a bit more deeply. Do you know about GPU pass-through or anything like that? Can you do anything?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna do the pass-through, you have to go inside the DOM0 terminal, which is console basically, and then you do QVM dash USB for USB pass-through, or PCI for your PCI devices, and then you can find you do like LSPCI to find your devices, and then you can kind of like identify what slots being on, and then you just attach it to whatever VM you want to do. At least on my setup, I have the 1060 on my Alienware, and I pass it through to a specific VM that just does machine learning, and that's where I train my models with. Part of my models, because other thing I'm doing now is I'm using like IBM and Google to kind of like train my models in a certain way, because apparently IBM is better at logic stuff and basically logic data and creating like data charts and data science, but then Google is a lot better at vision stuff.
So can you run anything in DOM0 if you want it? Just to take, like, I know you're not supposed to ever. Right?
Yes,
that's
you
the whole
can.
point.
There's you can basically make it like when you install Zen in a system from scratch, it's just like, say, a computer, and it has like the virtual machine, but your computer still doesn't have that isolation from the system itself. By opening that, you break the isolation, which is the point of it. But you can still make it do it whatever you want, It's just becomes to like, how do you feel? Like, I have a machine, I have a box that I use for like, just remoting in stuff like that, but just here in my little lab. But I do it not to like have anything personal in it or anything like that. On my other machines, I have it completely isolated, but you can install it. There's a way to do cubes dash DOM0 dash update, and then you can put like install, you can do like tmux, and then you can install tmux inside of it, and stuff like that. Or you can cache the packages and then install them through yum or DNF, since it's Fedora based type of thing.
Oh, it is Fedora based. Okay. So
yeah, but you can build your own
yum
from scratch if you wanted to. I know I've seen.
So,
I built.
Like, what if I want to run like SolidWorks or something? Am I able to do that?
Yeah, you just gotta install it. You can make a template that has just those tools.
But it'll
And-
run okay.
Yeah, depending on your setup, of course.
What
and
if
how
I want to
you-
play? What if I want to play a game every now and then?
You just Google. There's some great tutorials on. I haven't done gaming, but I've done machine learning, so I don't know if there's any difference on there. But as far as machine learning goes, you just attach it to it and you pass through it, and then you just give it whatever RAM you need for the game. Say at the minimum 6, you give it at least like 8. So you have a little buffer there, and then you put the video card, and then you basically set everything up to run with the video card.
Does it take a long time to do it each time? Like if you want to run it? No, once you set it up, you set that template up or whatever.
Yeah. Once you set up the template, it's gonna every time you boot up a new app VM, it's gonna have whatever settings that template has. The only situation you're gonna have is while you're testing the template, you're gonna need to attach your GPU, and then you have to detach it and then attach it to the app VM you're going to be using. Unless you have multiple GPUs, then you can have multiple systems run, whatever it needs.
Right. So you're gonna have to close down SolidWorks if you want to play that game on the other OS.
Not necessarily, no. If you have 2 GPUs, you can have it open as long as you're running it right, and then you take the you configure the X11 and whatever NVIDIA drivers or I don't know, whatever AMD drivers you're using, and then you can basically have 2 screens running different things completely independent. You can even assign, if you have multiple USB controllers, you can have different keyboards for different stuff, or you can have the same keyboard on the one switch, depending how you set that up, of course.
Right. Cool. So since it's so relying on the hard drive and shit, like to store all of these OSs and all that, what can you actually do with the live USB? Have you tried the live USB thing out?
Yeah, the live USB, I mean, if you want to use it and create, if you're creating your own ISO, say if you're doing a deployment, right, you can create your own live USB and do it that way, which I've done before, which I have Black Arch, and then I have a Brill IDS template, then I have an Arch Linux template, and I'll have a Debian, and I just eliminate Fedora completely, just for my own personal ISO. It's great for testing systems out to see how queues will run. Say you have another operating system or it's a production machine and you're not ready to move that step, or you don't have an extra hard drive to take out the hard drive.
It'd be great for development and stuff, trying it on different platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
Trying your program and stuff like that. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I like it is, because I can have, basically I can run NetBSD, and I can run a Fedora, and I can run Debian, and I can run Windows. I have a Mac that has cubes, which I run OS X in, because it's illegal to run OS X in other than a Mac apparently. And what I do is I'll run it from there, and then you can run any, as long as you have the RAM and the power, you can run anything you need.
So what do you do, like, once you install this and I want to get Windows going on it and stuff as well? You have to go through the whole install process and stuff like that in like a VM window or something?
Basically, you install the Windows. Cubes has its own like little Windows tools, kind of like the Zen server has. If you use like Citrix tools, stuff like that, and you will basically install those Windows tools just for it works better with Windows, and then you get the ISO, which you can download from the website. You can get the developer preview. That's the one I use, and get a developer preview. Sign up for that, and then you get the ISO. You create a template out of that ISO, and then you create a Windows app VM. And then not only that, you can run the whole desktop environment if you wanted to, or you can run just a single application.
Do you have to run? Do you have to run like the whole desktop environment in order to install the OS, and then you're able to?
You're gonna go through the buttons of the template, and you can eliminate all that. The Windows tools would allow you to say, once you create the template, you can create an app VM, and then you can assign, say, I only want to use Word. So you put Word, and then when you hit it, it just opens Word. It doesn't open the whole thing. I want to open a PowerShell, right? I have one of those PowerShell. So I just open my PowerShell. It's just a Windows system, and you can update it. I'm running Tron script. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But it basically does all your updates and everything for Windows. I am not a Windows expert. I don't consider myself a Windows expert.
So like VMware has like VMware tools that runs on the guests. Do they have something like that, or how does that work?
Basically, it runs it like it was a native, kind of like a native ISO, basically, just running like it was Windows.
Except they have stuff like what do they have? They don't have like drag and drop and all that kind of shit.
You can drag and drop from. You can copy between VMs, app VMs, and basically you do Control-Shift-C on. Well, you first copy it, then you do Control-Shift-C on whatever you're copying. Then you click on the VM, and then you do Control-Shift-V, and then you do, Control-V or Shift-Insert, depending on whatever you're trying to do.
Okay, it's like 4 layers.
Yeah. So, but you can you can connect them, like you can network them together if you wanted to. You go inside the services and you enable different services like SSH, and stuff like that, and you can have them communicate with each other through SCP or SSH, whatever you want to do, like mount a hard drive, or you can even you can get like an external hard drive and just have all your apps in that external hard drive for your Windows. Or you can run the whole environment. Like you can run the whole desktop. It's just a waste of RAM unless you really have the capability.
So you're running Qs right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
What operating system are you running your browser in right now?
Fedora.
So which DOM is that?
It's not. No, it's basically that falls under DOM U. Not DOM 0. Basically, I'm using is like the user part of it, and then I have an app VM, and I'm running it through that app VM, and then I'm attaching the microphone to it.
I thought DOM 0 was kind of like the base operating system that's cubes itself.
Yes, DOM 0, you're correct, is the base operating system, but I'm not using DOM 0 to communicate with you. I'm communicating through you through an app VM.
What, on DOM U?
Yeah, on the user environment, basically, not on the root environment, which is 0 stands for. It's kind of like ring 0 type of thing,
Oh.
So it's like basically if that gets compromised, your whole system gets compromised.
Right. I thought you were like running in an entirely new VM or something like that.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's basically it. I'm running it on an app VM, and once I'm done, I destroy it, and then whatever happened to it, it just gets eliminated.
But the app VM is the image of the original operating system, anyways. Is that right? No, it's another Fedora. Totally different Fedora.
Yeah, totally different template. Correct.
Oh my god. Okay.
So like say right now I have in this one I have Fedora 24, I have Fedora minimal, I have Fedora 23, I have Fedora 25, Fedora 25 minimal. So I can choose from all those different templates and distros and have Arch Linux, Debian 8, Debian 9.
That's cool, man.
NetBSD.
It's cool to have a bunch of different shit.
Well, I mean, especially when you're like testing malware and stuff like that. I got Windows 7 and Windows 10. The only thing about relying on virtualization systems is that they're not the best to do so because
relying on what, sir?
Basically on when you're testing malware and you're testing different things, it's not let's say it's not the best thing because you want to replicate your environment as much as you can. So
okay, so what's different then? What's the negatives? What's the cons?
Well, the drivers and the things that are being used in a virtual machine environment are not the same as, say, when you do like the same devices don't show up as the same as a bare metal environment. So when you're testing your malware, some malware will detect you're running in a VM and not do what they have to do and do something completely different.
Yeah, so
or
basically the malware tries to fingerprint its environment looking for any differences. So they usually do this per like VM, but there's a lot of things that just every virtual environment will do a little bit. That's not something you would usually see, and it just looks for all this stuff. And if that happens, then it just does something benign, so it doesn't look like malware. It's to make it harder for you to analyze its behavior. Just like Google malware detect VM, and you'll find there's all sorts of tricks they use. They also do this to stop stuff like sandboxes. So even if you don't have a full VM, but you just have a sandbox environment that doesn't let it actually do evil things, then it can detect this. Like, probably you're not going to let it go talk to the internet. Or you might have it, very specially segmented on your network, or, all sorts of crap like that. Sometimes it just runs out the clock. So what'll happen is, it'll run it. You'll have virtualization that will run the thing in a tiny little environment very quickly to make sure it's not going to do something evil. And what it does is it's just like, all right, well, I'm not going to do anything evil for 100 seconds. And then you give up, and then it goes do its evil thing. So, your AV sandbox isn't going to detect that. That's not going to hurt a virtual environment then. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, and also, when you're doing reverse engineering, you can if you can see it within the assembly, you can stop. You can basically, not make it loop or not make it do that, and then run it and make it. You see what it actually does. But I mean, it just comes. But the good thing about running it in a bare metal is that if you have a right environment, you can see what's going on, and you can see who it is trying to ping. You can simulate that. You can control everything. But it just depends, Sometimes
I remember back in the day there used to be some that would detect if the debugger was attached, and it would change its behavior. Is that still a thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was telling earlier. Like, there's some malware that once you say, if you delete a file or you copied a file, it all of a sudden goes and it runs its ransomware protocol, and it just encrypts your drive. You know what I mean? So not only will they taking your information, once you find it, they're gonna lock your machine, and you guys need to pay money to get your files. At least not us, but well, let me just knock on wood. It can happen to anybody. Doesn't matter how. The difference between us and the people out there is that we're curious enough to look in it further, and we know we can figure out what's happening. Other people just ignore it. They just move forward. But anybody can get hacked. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are. I mean, Pentagon, billion-dollar budgets. A 0-day can ruin your life forever.
So what kind of debugging and shit do you use for Linux stuff? Are you just using GDB, or do you have some sort of interface or something like that?
Well, I'm using the Radare 2 has this thing called ESIL, which stands for Evaluative String Intermediate Language, sorry. And basically it's kind of this new way of seeing assembly language, and it runs its own little VM, and it can basically show you what the function is doing completely, stuff type of thing. But GDB is great. I mean, I still use GDB. I mean, anything. It just depends what you're using, At least with me right now is I'm in this journey to see, am I going to really rely on machine learning to do this, or am I going to just keep on, sweating it type of thing. But you should use whatever you feel comfortable with. No tool is better than any other tool. It's the operator behind the tool. Doesn't matter if you use a notepad and GDB. I know this guy, he's 65 years old, and this guy is amazing at reverse engineering things. I mean, this guy can, and all he uses is notepad, and basically notepad and GDB, and he just copy paste things. He has his own little process. It may not be, the greatest, or he's just all the GBD, but he always uses a notepad, and he starts copying registers and stuff like that, information. And he has his notepad, and then he writes, assembly language from scratch, like you were coding Python type of thing. And then he runs it, and he runs his own shell code, and I mean, it just depends. You got to find your own workflow and see what works for you. Nobody's going to care what you use as long as you can show that you can do it.
Just the end result.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what you use. I don't care.
Most
So-
I've done is Windows binaries and shit. With
doesn't
like
matter.
Ollie debug and jumping over licensing, checking routines and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, like,
Make
I
a
mean,
nice DLL, crack DLL for programs. So that was cool.
I mean, when I started, it was Power PCs and Macs. Because that's what all I had access to, you know. And you know, I got very familiar with RISC and all that stuff, and then I got into CISC. You know what I mean? But it all, you know, it comes down to practice, dedication, and basically, you know, having that, you know, commit to it and that discipline of doing it. And you know, I admit it, I've lost my discipline in a sense where I haven't been doing it like hardcore like where I want to be. Even though I'm very like successful right now, I want to be at a level where I can just, you know, sit down and just look at it and be like, I know what that is, type of thing. But you know, dreams are dreams, right?
I've got a little project going on at the moment. I'm spending most of my time learning assembly language and trying to write some assembly from scratch and then import it into the ST program.
For what? For
fun.
x86, I mean?
Yeah, x86.
Oh.
You would not believe how much reading I've done over the last 2 weeks. But I'm enjoying it, so it's all good.
Cool.
Well, folks, I think I may have to cut this off here shortly. I have to get on a plane at 7 in the morning, which means prepping a bunch of stuff before then.
What?
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Prepping all your guns?
Whatting all my guns?
Prepping them for your flight. You're going to take all of them on the flight, right?
Right.
No, I don't think so. That would be prohibitively expensive in flight freight, and it's not like I can get them on carry-on.
You're bringing your lockpicks, though?
I am bringing my lockpicks, yes. I do them carry-on.
You ever get stopped for them?
Yeah.
I get stopped, and they look at them, and they put them back away.
Do they actually know what they are, or would you just say, oh, they're just...
I think at least some of the people know what they are. I think they've commented on it. Also, I'm carrying a bunch of locks with me, and the side of my case has like Sparrow lockpicks written on it.
You said one guy said it was cool or something, didn't you?
Yeah, somebody thinks it's cool. I'll sit there and pick on the plane, and I've yet to have a problem.
Just don't pick the cockpit.
Well, I'm pretty sure someone will land on my ass before I get to the car.
You can't. They took their locks out from the other side.
Oh,
It
damn.
can only be opened from the pilot side, which is a great thing. So,
Folks, check out that link before next week's show, and sometime in the previous days, or if you have things you want to add to it, go ahead and add to it. But yeah, that might be a decent way of doing show notes. And I suppose tomorrow I'll go ahead and after anybody's add anything in there you want, maybe copy today's show notes into the YouTube description.
yeah, let's do that. But if you want, can you like go off live and we can stay here talking?
Okay, y'all can keep talking for the next several hours. But folks, it's probably going to get awfully boring for anybody else listening who's like, why is this an 8-hour stream again? But if you want to keep going, I'll leave it running.
Sweet.
Oh, no, we know how to ramp this up.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. Well, second of all, I don't want my channel banned. Maybe I can stop broadcasting and just leave the Hangout going.
We can just move to Mumble, or yeah, we can stay in the Hangout.
All right, I'm going to stop broadcasting. But I'll leave the Hangout running. Good night, folks.
Good
Take care.
No, dude.